Hi guys, it's Manu. Welcome back. I'm gonna be telling you guys the story of when my ex went to jail for me.
Get your beverages, get your popcorn, get some snacks, honey, because we're gonna be here a while. I will have some receipts, honey.
Because I know that's what you all live for, is the receipts. Where's the proof? Where is the documents? So let's get started. Back in 2015, I started dating this guy. I almost said his name. He seemed to be a very normal person at first. Pretty charming guy, but that's how they all are at first, right? He was a very controlling person. He was the type of person that would always try to flip everything on you. And that was something that I really didn't like, but I mean, we were already too far in at that point. We had been dating for a couple months and he was never violent with me, but he was kind of a tough guy. It was a very smooth relationship until one random day. It was getting really close to a really famous music festival here in Miami called Ultra. He hadn't really mentioned wanting to go, having any plans to go. And for me, he was always like the type of person to want to stay home too, kind of like just chill. So I really did not expect that he was gonna go. People that attend this festival were like girls that are half naked. So obviously I wouldn't have been comfortable with my partner going, especially without me.
But then again, I would not go, so I would just not want him to go, period.
Like a week before Ultra, he picked the smallest fights every single day. It was like something. I still couldn't really, pick up on the fact that he was just trying to pick a fight to go to this festival. And he randomly just stopped responding to any of my messages. He wouldn't call me, he wouldn't text me. We'd text every day, we'd talk on the phone every day. So this was not like a normal thing. It had already been like 2 days. I was at the gym with my best friend and it was Friday night. I remember we were at the squat rack. There was this guy that kept looking at us. He was like a gym regular, so we saw him all the time. We just never spoke to him. I don't really like to socialize at the gym. We just kept working out, and when it came time to leave the gym, we ended up exiting the gym at the same exact time as this guy.
Which I really don't think was a coincidence.
He starts talking to us and he was like, oh, you guys work out so hard. We should work out sometime. We ended up making plans to work out together. And it wasn't just me. My friend was there too, so I was like, sure.
What's the harm? What could possibly happen,
We all exchanged numbers and we said that we were gonna work out together the next day on Saturday. I think my best friend like slept over that night just to like keep me company and keep me distracted. And the next day came around and this guy hit us up. We met up with this guy and we did a workout. He ended up inviting us to his house. I think it had something to do with just working out because he was like competing for a competition. Or a bodybuilding competition.
And that was something that we were really interested in, was
competing. So we kind of just took up his offer to go to his house. I really didn't see any harm. I really wasn't interested in this guy.
He was definitely not attractive.
He was in really great shape. He was very built and muscular, but
his face, honey, no. I was not attracted to him.
But when you're vulnerable and hurt, you're stupid as fuck. And anyway, my boyfriend at the time was still not texting me, and we're here hanging out with this guy. The guy had a brother, which my best friend started to like, And they ended up hooking up, which was like really weird because, you know, I'm here with a boyfriend.
Kinda, sort of.
And like my best friend's hooking up with this guy's brother.
So this guy's probably expecting to hook up with me, but I really wasn't trying to go there.
And so this was already after Ultra. It had been a couple days and we were still working out with this guy every day. I kind of started getting a little bit more comfortable with this person to kind of consider him a friend.
Definitely nothing more than that.
But I did feel more comfortable talking to him, and that's when
I made the biggest mistake ever.
I started opening up to this guy about how I had a boyfriend who was not talking to me, just ghosted me completely. I started telling him
How upset I was and how much I loved him and just, you know, stupid stuff that we say when we're heartbroken.
now I know, like, that type of stuff, girl,
Keep to yourself.
because then they'll use that information
Against you.
And this guy did, he didn't use it against me, but he used it to his advantage. Started manipulating me emotionally, making me think like, okay, like you guys are not in a relationship. This guy's not your boyfriend. He doesn't talk to you. He ignores you. You guys haven't seen each other in like a week. So I'm here like already thinking, damn, he's right. I'm not in a relationship. It's over. It's over. And so I deleted my boyfriend's number. And I think it was like Thursday of the week after Ultra that I was at the gym with my best friend and with this guy. And I had left the gym because my boyfriend texted me. My whatever the hell he was, that guy, my ex, he said that we needed to talk. Obviously, I wanted to talk to him at least to get some closure or know what the hell it was that happened. So I got home and I was getting ready for him to come over my house. I get a call from my best friend and she's like, hey, can you please come outside? I really need to talk to you. And she sounded kind of weird, like she didn't sound normal. So I'm like, maybe something happened to her, maybe she's upset, I don't know. I looked out my window before I went downstairs and my best friend's car was there. I opened the door, her car is gone.
Like, it's gone, bitch.
And all of a sudden, this random car comes pulling up to my house. It was this guy that we were hanging out with. He had never been in our community.
He had never been to my house, he had never been to her house, we had been to his, but he had never been to ours.
I'm like, okay, why are you here? And he's just like, I want to talk to you. And I'm like,
how did you even get in here?
and what he said is that he tailgated my best friend and he just went straight behind her car and got in. And he was like, look, I don't want you to be sad, but my friend saw your boyfriend at Ultra and he was with other girls.
And he was cheating on you.
When he started telling me these things, like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait, how do you even know who my boyfriend is, what he looks like? I didn't even really think of it, but I believed him. So I call my boyfriend. I'm like, hey, can I ask you something? And he's like, yeah, sure. And I was like,
did you go to Ultra this weekend?
and I think he said no. I made him promise me that he didn't go, and he kept swearing on his life that he didn't go. And I told him that my friend had seen him at Ultra with other girls. And he just kept denying it. He's a very, very good liar. All of a sudden, this guy, which is still right next to me and my boyfriend has no idea, he grabs the phone from me and he tells him, tell her the truth. You were at Ultra and you were cheating on her because my friends saw you with other girls. And when he said that, he was really mad. He was like,
I'm gonna fucking go over there right now and beat your ass.
I really did not believe it. I'm like,
He just talk.
oh, the guy was like,
Yeah, come over here. Let's talk about it. Show me what you're gonna do.
I hung up the phone. At this point, I was just crying. I was in tears because I really did believe that he went to Ultra. Like, made sense to me that he had picked a fight to go to Ultra. I just stayed out there talking to this guy for 10 or 15 minutes because I was a wreck. And all of a sudden, we hear a stampede and everything happened so fast. I can't even explain to you guys how fast everything was. I look to my left and my boyfriend and his cousin are running 1,000,000 miles per hour towards this guy. Once he saw that, he took off and ran for his life. I started running after them and my mom heard a scandal, so she came outside running. We get there, my boyfriend and his cousin are beating the literal out of this guy. I had never seen that in my life. I was convinced that they were going to kill this guy. And I couldn't do anything about it because I was trying to stop it, but...
Like, really, like, they were not stopping?
And I don't know how, but finally they stopped hitting him and they literally walked away. They just left. This, to me, was like, okay, and like now it's really over because he probably thinks that I have something with this guy.
Which I did not.
But of course, you know, we have Mr. Master Manipulator that was going to make sure that I thought I was the guilty one.
When I'm not.
This guy was on the floor, bleeding. He tried to get up and he was just limping. My mom was terrified. She was like,
I'm calling the police right now.
I didn't want her to call the cops because
Obviously, I didn't want my man to get in trouble.
the neighbors called the cops.
Somebody called the cops, girl, because the cops came.
I felt like a little bit guilty that this guy is like all beat up and crippled, but at the same time, like, he's the one that got himself into this mess. Like, he took my phone and started provoking him to come over to my house and fight. All I wanted to do was be with my boyfriend and fix things with him. And I was just kind of annoyed at this freaking guy that was now in my house. My mom was taking care of him, giving him ice packs and bringing him medicine. And I was like so over it. I was like,
Ugh.
like I just didn't want anything to do with him because in my eyes, it was like he had just ruined my relationship.
Or like officially ended my relationship.
We ended up having to take this guy to the hospital. I didn't want to, but he couldn't drive himself. And my mom guilt tripped me and made me think that I could get in trouble for like conspiracy or I don't know what she was saying I could get in trouble for. I was like, I'm not trying to go to jail, so
Let's take this little cripple over to the hospital.
and we went to the hospital and this guy was like, oh, it's okay, I'm not gonna press charges.
And he just like really just wanted to like be with me. Like,
I feel like he was using the fact that he had something on me to make me feel like I had to be with him. I think he stayed in the hospital like 1 or 2 days because he had like a concussion or I don't know what, and he had to like get a cast, I think, on his ankle or something. something happened to like his leg because he couldn't walk and he had the biggest black eye.
He was ugly, but he became like a monster ugly.
So I was still in high school at the time, and this was on a weekday. So the next day I had to be in school, and I was at the hospital with this guy until like 4 or 5 in the morning. So I didn't get sleep. I didn't even shower. The next day I remember going to school with like bloody knuckles because I was so mad at everything that had happened that I started punching a tree. So I was punching a tree so hard, so many times, that my knuckles were all bruised and bloody.
And I just went to school like an emo girl. I was like, fuck this, like, I'm depressed, like, I don't care if I have blood all over me, if I stink, like, I'm sad.
I called my boyfriend's or ex-boyfriend's mom and I tried to explain to him what had happened. And obviously she had already heard her son's version. She clearly had already taken his side and didn't really want to know anything about me. Who knows what story he made up about me or about the situation, because this woman like hated me. A few days later, since I didn't want to follow through being with this guy that I had met at the gym, his parents pressured him to press charges on my boyfriend. And even though he had promised me and he had said that he wasn't going to press charges, he did end up pressing charges. So now my boyfriend had a warrant for his arrest. He did end up turning himself in. A few days later, the cops ended up coming to my school and they pulled me out of class, and I was so scared. I remember it was like a detective and they pulled me into this room and they had a file with like his picture on it and his dad's picture on it and just like all his freaking life information. I was just completely mute.
I was like, I'm not saying a word. Like, y'all better bring me my lawyer, okay? Okay, where's my lawyer? Where is my lawyer?
Well, they finally left me alone because they couldn't get a word out of me. A couple days later, I ended up getting a subpoena. This was like the first time in my life that I ever received like such a serious document. I was like 17 years old and I'm here getting a document saying that I have to testify in court or else, pretty much. And my parents were just freaking out. They immediately got me a lawyer and my lawyer ended up handling all of that. I didn't end up having to show up to court. If I did show up to court, it was to testify against him. Or like, not against him, but tell the truth. And
I was not gonna tell the truth, honey, because I stood by my man. Okay, I was not about to be no snitch.
it was really just a very depressing, dark time in my life, carrying that relationship, dealing with like lawyers. My family hated him, his family hated me. It was just a whole mess. Eventually, my boyfriend did get out of jail, and as soon as he did get out of jail, the dude goes and cheats on me. And that'll be a story for another day. So, if y'all enjoyed this video
and you want to hear a little bit more tea on what happened after he got out of jail, and you want to know how I found out that he cheated on me,
then give this video a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment maybe. Be generous with your interactions. Love you.